I told you I was gonna start this with a scream, and it sounded more like a sneeze, but like that's okay too. It's also 9:30 at night, so I'm trying not to wake up all my neighbors like an asshole, because that is what I would do if I were one, but I'm not. So that's who I am. I'm Jake, the internet's busiest Pokemon nerd. See, that's the bit, right? Like, maybe that should be my bit. Like, every single intro I just steal from somebody else and make it my own, right? That's the plan. So I have learned a couple of things since recording my last video. The first thing that I learned is that repeating the same thing over and over three times is really annoying. And I didn't actually say those things 3 times, but somewhere along the process of editing and uploading, the audio just kind of repeated itself like a bunch of times in a couple different locations. So hopefully it wasn't too terrible to listen to, and if it put you off, then, well, you know, what can I do? You know, literally I could go back and re-record it, but that would just be a waste of my time, and like, also no one would watch it. So I'm not going to do that. The second thing I learned is that I need to put music over this. And will I remember for this video? I'm not sure, because I'm going to record this, go to bed, and then tomorrow I'm going to come back and edit it. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to kind of assume that I'll forget, but that's okay too. So we're going to talk about my week 2 game against Lily. So same thing, Smogon Premier League, Alpha Ruiners. I think Lily is on the Team Raiders, and maybe if I'm really feeling it, I might edit in those pictures, and maybe saying it out loud will make me have to go back and edit in those pictures. Otherwise I'll look like a giant lazy doo-doo head. So here we are, team. Like I said for the last week, the game against Osh, right? I was experimenting a lot with Vulpix Sun. And I'll show Vulpix down here. The special thing about Vulpix is that Vulpix has drought, and as soon as Vulpix comes in, it makes the weather sunny. So a Pokemon like Oddish with chlorophyll can come in, and Oddish's speed is going to be doubled. And this is really huge. In Pokemon, speed is like king. Speed is everything, because you can make your moves before the opponent. And so if you can KO them faster than they KO you, then you win, right? So that was basically the concept. Is I wanted to come in with some kind of cool Sun team and overpower Lily. I was kind of expecting her to have some kind of offense, so I wanted a little bit of a bulkier, sort of bulkier kind of offensive team. But still be able to capitalize on defensive cores. So we'll start with my Vulpix set, because I was really proud of it. I spent a lot of time thinking about what kind of Vulpix is the best kind of Vulpix, because Vulpix isn't very bulky. Using an item like Eviolite is not going to be particularly effective. A lot of the moves that are going to KO Vulpix will still KO Vulpix, or very close to KOing it. A lot of moves that, like if you were using Berry Juice, that kind of helps so that Vulpix doesn't die to Stealth Rock. Same thing with Heavy Duty Boots, which is a brand new item that was introduced this generation in Sword and Shield, and it keeps Vulpix from taking entry hazard damage. That's really cool, but also just kind of like just okay, right? Like, there wasn't anything that was really appealing to me until I was like, you know, wouldn't it be funny if we used Weakness Policy? And Weakness Policy is a really cool item that hardly ever sees any use, right? Because you don't want your Pokemon taking super effective hits. But the cool thing about Vulpix is that thanks to drought, there's a lot of opportunity to take super effective hits. Like, since it cuts damage from water type attacks in half, Vulpix can tank something like a Corphish Aqua Jet, and Weakness Policy will go off. Same thing with like a Frillish Scald, or a Chinchou Surf or whatever. Vulpix can tank those and get the boost and then sweep, or at the very least break something so that one of my other Pokemon can sweep. That was the whole concept. So Vulpix could Will-O-Wisp something like Onix or Mudbray, burning them, and then so their rock and ground type attacks that are super effective against Vulpix will only do half damage, and then would activate weakness policy. So it was a very inventive kind of set, and I was very proud when I came up with it. And the other key move here is Flame Charge, which gives you +1 speed when you hit with it. So the whole idea is you could come in, Flame Charge on something, and then tank one hit and then sweep. I would say that in most cases that's not really going to work out, and Vulpix is just going to break something and then make it easier for the rest of my team. But I was very proud of the set, and I'm still very proud of the set, so I'll use it again someday. I don't know if I'll use it in this tournament, but it made me happy. So what else? The other one that I came up with in this game was Taunt Vullaby. Taunt Vullaby is a move that was never used until I used it here. The cool thing about it is that it forces slower Stealth Rock users. It blocks the Stealth Rock outright, which is good for my team because I have a couple Pokemon that are weak to Stealth Rock, and it also lets me do things like taunt Ferroseed, who would otherwise click Thunder Wave and just kind of be a big terror to my team. It just outright wins against stuff like that. So it's a good way to break these fat, bulky cores. And I don't know, man, I just like the set a lot. I thought that it worked out really well on this team. It fit in nicely, so I ended up using it. This Spritzy set is one that had been gaining a lot of popularity. Spritzy is a great Pokemon, and it also lured in Pokemon like Mareanie. The last team was built around knocking and trapping Mareanie, right? So this one it ran enough speed to outrun slower Oddish, and Mareanie usually is faster than this, but Spritzy can tank something like a Sludge Bomb anyway. But it outruns the bulkiest kinds of Oddish, and it's got max special attack to Oko stuff. I think it was like, it does over half to Munchlax with Draining Kiss. Anyway, everything is purposeful here, but it's a cool set, and it's really good at breaking like really bulky kinds of stuff. I ran Dragon Dance Onix with Body Press. Body Press is specifically for Ferroseed, not anything else. Like, chipping Ferroseed was really, really important for this team, for both my Spritzy and for my Oddish potential end games. So between Body Press on Onix and Taunt on Vullaby and Close Combat, I haven't even talked about Mudbray yet, but Close Combat on Mudbray, I was planning to have the options to be able to beat Ferroseed and make it easier for my team to win. But Dragon Dance Onix was also a big part of why I wanted to use Sun, because it takes 1 hit point of damage from Corphish's Aqua Jet under Sun. Little Cup damage rolls are really weird sometimes, and this was a really, really weird one, because I was like playing on the ladder and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just, use my Corphish to revenge this Onix, and then it did 1 damage, and I was like, excuse me? What? So that was the whole idea, is that hopefully Onix can be some kind of monster, and Lily can't do anything about it. So I also ran Growth Strength Sap Oddish. I thought that would be better than the alternative, which would be to run Sleep Powder on it. And I had a lot of debate with my building partner Shrug about which one would be the best, and we ended up settling on this combination with growth and strength sap. I think I needed growth more than anything else, and strength sap was really valuable, so we used that over sleep powder. And last but not least is Mudbray. Mudbray is amazing. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. It's consistently really bulky and consistently really strong, and can also be pretty fast, considering that it's a slow Pokemon in general. It's got like a nice speed tier where you can outrun things unexpectedly, or be very, very bulky. And I ran close combat on it for Pharaoh Seed, and a little bit for Munchlax too, because my team, while it handles Munchlax okay, it's also not the best against Munchlax, especially if it starts getting boosts. So Facade, Munchlax especially, Facade being the move that doubles in base power if it's statused, right? Because if I click Will-O-Wisp on a Munchlax, then I'm in big doo-doo, big trouble. So yeah, I love this team. I loved building this team. I loved playing with this team. This team kind of sucks now, mostly because I think, yeah, we banned Vulpix because of the changes that Pokémon Home brought to the metagame. So again, this is another kind of unusable team, but I'll still post it anyway. Like if you ever wanted to play pre-home Sword and Shield Little Cup, you could use this team. But it's kind of cool to make an archive of these kinds of teams anyway. So we will go ahead and pull up the replay and talk about what we did there. So my little bro called halfway through recording this part of the video, and I probably lost half my train of thought, and that's okay. I did change, like I cut down the part of the screen, like so you don't have to see all that extra information. I didn't realize how to cut it all the way down until right now, so hopefully that works out okay. You'll get all the same information just in this nice little battle box. Looks pretty cool. Anyway, so I walked into this game and I saw Lily's team and I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, she brought all the things that I was looking to see, right? And as far as matchup goes, she brought a really fat team. Frillish is very bulky and defensive. Ferroseed is bulky and defensive. Munchlax is like the epitome of bulky and defensive, and even coughing too. So looking at this team, everything on my team does really, really well here. Especially Taunt Volby. Remember, it was a set that hadn't ever been used up until this point, right? But Taunt Volby kind of gives her the work. Like, every time it comes in, it blocks stuff from happening, spreads knockoffs everywhere, and it looks like it'll do really, really well. Same thing with Spritzy, especially once Munchlax is burned and hopefully coughing is chipped or whatever. Spritzy does amazing here. Mudbray does really well. Although it depends on what the ability of coughing is, right? Because since it got the new Galar evolution, coughing also got the same ability. It got neutralizing gas. So it depends on which ability Lily is running. If it's levitate, it hard walls Mudbray. But if it's neutralizing gas, then Mudbray, of course, can hit it with Earthquake and it just kind of dies. The reason why you'd use neutralizing gas here is to absorb toxic spikes, which otherwise is really dangerous for Lily. So coming into this, kind of assume that it is in fact neutralizing gas. But otherwise, like, all of my Pokemon work really well here. I should have a very strong team matchup here. And I decided to lead with Volibee because it has the best spread of matchups here. Even if she leads with like not Ferroseed, even if she leads with like Frillish, I'm in a really good position because remember, I have that wonky set, right? So she clicks Scald, then I get boosted and hopefully just start cleaning house. So that's my game plan, that's my goal. I lead with Vulpix. Ooh, one thing that I forgot to say here that I said in my first attempt to record this was that looking at her team, there's not a lot that's majorly threatening except for the potential of a Facade Munchlax, which I can beat, but I just need to be wary of it. And Corphish is also a little dangerous. And Corphish is dangerous mostly once I lose Vulpix. That's when Corphish becomes really dangerous. And that sounds kind of weird, right? But Vulpix halves the damage that Corphish can do with Aqua Jet, and it also makes Oddish faster than Corphish, so Corphish can always be revenged. But without having Vulpix here, her Corphish could be faster, probably is faster than my Oddish, and it's faster than everything else on my team except for Volibee. And you know, I'm just pretend Onix isn't there because it'll instantly die. But anyway, so it's important for me to keep Vulpix relatively healthy throughout this game. So I end up leading Vulpix because I thought it has the best matchup spread overall, and she leads Ferroseed, and this is perfect because nobody's ever going to stay in here. And I click Will-O-Wisp, which gives me already a pretty sizable advantage here. I figure that the easiest switch is to double back into Oddish, so I don't do that. I click Fire Blast, and Ferroseed comes back in, and Ferroseed dies. Now, this is like a galaxy brain level decision from me, because Lily's play was fine. It's no matter what I'm doing, either I'm going to Volibee or I'm going to Oddish, and in both cases Ferroseed is fine. Ferroseed is an okay play. But I clicked Fire Blast, so it was not an okay play. And I was really, really happy with myself for that play. So she goes back out to Frillish, and remember, I'm the weird set, right? I don't know why I clicked Fire Blast here in particular, but I kind of anticipated a Scald, and she clicks Hex. Now, I stay in here a little bit in Fish. Frillish has this ability called Cursed Body, and it is the premier ability in Little Cup. It's much, much better than Water Absorb. So whenever Frillish is hit with a move, it has a chance to disable it, meaning you can't use it again afterwards. So I end up pivoting into Volibee, and I drop a taunt here because I wasn't sure. I'm not sure why I didn't click Knock there. Knock was probably always the better play. But I pivot into Mudbray afterwards, and here I can set up my rocks for free. Frillish comes in and will probably click Scald or Wisp, and so naturally I go out to Vulpix, which makes me look like I'm a genius, but I kind of was okay with eating either because of my Vulpix set. And here I click Energy Ball. She has to recover here, which means that I probably should have made a different play. But I probably also should have switched out there too. Since I was so happy with how I was playing, or with the play that I made earlier, I was a little too aggressive with how I was playing this Vulpix. Even though I knew deep in the back of my mind I should have been keeping it like healthy for Corphish, I was still a little aggro with it too. Now, I pivoted into Oddish a little late here, and she also got the Giga Drain Curse Body, which really sucks, but I assumed that I outsped, and I did not, which really, really stunk because now she could heal up with Frillish. And now I kind of have to. I'm not sure why I pivot back into Vulpix here. I keep using the word pivot. I'm sorry. I'm trying to use another word like switch, maybe. And you know, like I said, kind of getting a little overzealous with how I'm playing this, but eventually I kind of figure out, hey, doofus, don't throw your entire team to a Frillish after you've made one good play. I click Energy Ball on the Munchlax, and end up going back out to Mudbray. Mudbray is probably my best switch overall. It depends on what she decides to do there, but a Curse I still KO'd with Close Combat after a Curse with where Munchlax was damage-wise. I think what I was anticipating more than anything was for her to click Scald once, and later I found out that her Frillish didn't even have Scald. It was just Taunt, Hex, Wisp, and Recover. So that kind of explains a lot of why it wasn't going the way that I thought it would. I end up sacking Vulpix here because I assumed that she was going to set up rocks, and remember, I don't have any way to clear rocks after this. And even if Vulpix dies, I'm in a great position because I can turn around with Oddish and force Onix back out. Here I find out that Coughing is in fact neutralizing gas, which is great. Coughing is probably also a fire type attack, so I switch out into my own Onix, and I can just kill it with Earthquake because it has no levitate, right? And Earthquake puts huge pressure on everything else too. She lost her one solid Onix switch in when Ferroseed died. So now she has to go out to Corphish, and I should always stay in here. Remember, the Aqua Jet does like no damage to me under the sun, and so she boosts instead. And I decide to sacrifice my Oddish here. It's kind of useless at this point. It won't ever beat Munchlax without the sun. So even though it looks like it's great because grass is super effective against 3 of her remaining Pokemon, it's never going to be able to break through that Munchlax. And it was also low in health. It's slower than Onix, it's slower than Frillish, and likely slower than Corphish. It was probably not worth keeping here. So what I ended up doing is I just went out into Vullaby, and this is well within I think it's a roll for knockoff, and I think it's 100% kill with Brave Bird. So I end up Brave Birding here to force Lily out or to kill her Corphish. And she ends up sacrificing her Corphish here, which is great for me. The Corphish being gone means that I win with basically all 3 of my Pokemon that are left. Whether it's Onix or Mudbray or Spritzy. Probably Spritzy is who I was going to win with here. I do dodge the head smash, which is great for me, but I'm going to win this game from the position that I'm in. She does get the Earthquake disable again with Cursed Body, and that's okay, right? So she can click Recover here, I can click Knock Off here, even though she her best play is to go right into Onix. I win by clicking Knockoff. So now Vullaby wins. Now I just need to force Onix out or kill it, and I win this game, pretty much. It's kind of a moot point wherever we are. I believe she goes out into Frillish from here. Has to, but dodge a Wisp, which is good for me because now she can't recover with Frillish. But like I said, Taunt Vullaby wins. So I think I'd crit one here or something. But yeah, overall, apart from a lot of the plays that I was making with Vulpix, like switching in and out on stuff, I was really happy with how I played this game. I was really happy with my prep, especially. I felt like this was an unlosable game from all the positions that I was in through the whole game. Whew. So, hopefully this time when I edit the audio to try to keep out like fan noise and stuff, it doesn't destroy my audio, because apparently that's what I did last time. Just doubled up a whole bunch of places, and then when I got to the end of the video, it cut off my outro. So anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being handsome and beautiful. And I will see you in the next video.